G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm David and today I've got this little Leptospermum back on the bench. Doesn't need a real lot of work, just needs a little bit of refinement work. Starting to shoot out a lot of spring growth and there's a lot of crossing over branches. And I think I want to just change the angle of some of these branches a little bit just to try and give a little bit more separation between some of the foliage. So yeah, that's all we're really doing today. So I'll probably start at the top and just take out anything that is not growing in the direction I want. We've sort of got this one huge big clump of foliage. There's no real separation. I don't know if we really need too much separation, but depends on what the view of the final tree is. We do have this branch here that's sort of coming out and then coming back across the front, which is going to obscure a lot of your structure in here, as well as that one. So you can probably start by bringing that back. We could even totally remove this bit that's growing forward, but I don't know. You don't want to remove all of that sort of stuff where you end up with a very two-dimensional tree. So we might just thin out some of this stuff that's growing back, crossing over each other, and then we'll come back and have a look. I think that's not too bad for that top section. I reckon there'll be a little bit of wiring to do. We'll bring this branch here down a little bit to make it part of this pad. And then maybe bring that one down a little bit. Just keep it a little bit separate, but in the front, just gives it a little bit of three-dimension, having a little bit of foliage. The foliage is wide, not just like two-dimensional. So that probably won't look too bad with a bit of wire on it. This one here, I think it just needs to all be shortened just to work on the density a bit. Just to get those shoots all happening in a little bit closer and just sort of really thicken it up over spring. Don't think it needs a lot more than that. So I'll just bring most of them back to where it's got like two shoots. Two little side shoots, and then we'll trim it back to there, and that one can probably be left to grow fairly well. It doesn't have a huge amount of foliage on it, that one, as it is. This little back one, it just curves out the back of the tree and around, again just to give it a little bit of dimension out the back. There's a dead branch on the bottom there, can go. A couple of little dead ones by the look of it. See, that whole thing back to there is dead. Could have been facing into the western sun and just cooked it a bit, maybe, not sure. Just moved all these out to their own bonsai bench too, so they're probably going to be a little bit more exposed, so hopefully don't do too much damage to them over the next month or two while they acclimatise a bit. We'll leave that one. This one here, I'd like to just bring it down a little. I know a lot of people are pretty critical of this because it's an Australian native and Australian natives don't grow down like Japanese trees, but you know, who gives a shit? It's about what you like or what you find visually pleasing. You know, you can style them however you like. You can style a Japanese tree like an Australian tree, or Australian tree like a Japanese tree. It really doesn't matter. And for this tree, I'd just like to see that down a little bit of separation between these pads. Same with this one. I would like a bit of foliage back in closer. I think this branch is a little bit too long and straight. But I'm not quite game to just cut it off and see if it regrows. So I've just sort of been trimming it back, and it hasn't back budded back here anywhere yet. So whether one day I just bite the bullet, cut it off, and see if it should back bud. I think it'll back bud, but I like the tree too much to just do that real drastic cut to it. So, but anyway, we're going to do a similar thing with this little pad. Any of these crossing over branches that we don't want, we'll either shorten them right back. Like that one's growing on the same plane as the main branch, so probably don't want that at all. You do want to be able to see a little bit of this branch structure as they go out, but you can't just have bare branches all the way out either. You do have to have some foliage. It's just a matter of keeping it under control. I always just start with the stuff that looks most problematic to me. Some stuff you just look at and go, oh, I don't want that at all. This stuff that's growing back towards the trunk, probably only want a little bit of that. Don't want to totally obscure those curves in the trunk and the nice bark. So I'll probably just prune them back. We can always make some bigger cuts later on and remove branches or wire them in a little bit different directions. But a little bit of foliage, you know, just hiding tiny bits of the trunk, that's fine. That all just adds to that little bit of an illusion. You don't just find trees that are like just all foliage around the outside and the back and then just real open at the front. It doesn't look very natural. So, and ultimately that's what we're trying to achieve, is something that does look a little bit natural, even, you know, a bit stylized, but still natural. Even keep some of that. I'll even wire that one down and out a little bit. These two here are really crossing over. They're sort of sharing the same space. So we either need to do some major wiring to separate them, or one will have to go. I think I'm going to do guy wires on these two just to bring them down a little, and then I'll wire some into place, and then we can see what we're left with. Some of these ones that are just shooting straight up, not very good unless you have a plan to wire them down, because they'll just intrude into the pad above. Some of these long ones that I don't want, that I'm pruning back, I am leaving a little bit of length on them because I think they will back bud off them. And if they don't, well, we'll just prune them off later on. Although that one can go, bugger it. Alright, we might throw some guy wires on this thing. Now, I've never guy wired a tree before, So we'll see how we go. I've just got some copper wire, not super thin copper wire. I'm just going to go around the base of the pot and up and over the branch that I'm going to guy wire, but I've got just some silicone, this is irrigation tube, you can use aquarium airline, just something to go up over the branch just to stop that wire cutting in. I reckon we can probably get away with going around out here. We want to go the other side of that. Now, from what I understand, you can just twist these wires together to get the tension that you want, which we probably don't really need to do a lot of because it's sort of not too bad as it is there. Maybe even let a little bit of that tension off maybe. Do the same to the other side. And that way, as it grows, like if the tension comes off of these a little bit, I can just tweak them. I could just turn them and tighten them up a little bit. But I reckon that's probably not too bad. I'm a little bit concerned that one wants to slip down, so I might undo that one and just put it up in front of that branch there so it can't slip down any further, I reckon. Probably asking for trouble where it is. Righto, how are we looking? Probably just take a little bit of tension off that, a little bit more tension off it. So we really only wanted to come down just a little bit. It'll probably spring back up a little bit when the guy wires are taken off. So that's probably not too bad. You can see how much of a gap there is here where there's no foliage. I'm sort of in two minds to cut it off, let it try and make it reshoot. We'll just try and grow some foliage back maybe. I guess some of this will eventually come back and cover some of that, so it won't be too bad. I really don't want to take the big cut and just risk not having anything because I kind of like the tree. So, right, that's probably not too bad. Now we need to look at wiring up some of these branches that we were talking about earlier on. That one there was probably the main one that we wanted to just get down a little bit. But I don't want it to intrude on that pad either. So maybe we cut it back. You could nearly do that one with the guy wire too. Just wanted to bring it down to, put a couple of bends in it while we're going. And then it can be incorporated into this pad. That's probably not too bad. Hopefully this will continue to grow up just a little bit, and we can increase the separation then between that pad, and that pad, and this will be the apex of the tree ultimately. And if we can get another couple inches on that, just bring that up a little bit, that'll be about perfect, I reckon. We may even be able to bring that one down a touch too over time, but I think for now it's probably not too bad. You just want to bring that branch back in towards the center a little, I think. That'll probably look okay once that foliage reorients itself and starts growing up. Maybe a little lower. You want to have room to establish your foliage pad without coming up and obscuring that trunk there. Hopefully that'll do the job. And there was a little bit on this one too. Probably need something a little thicker on that, I think. Whoa. That one there. So we've got this one coming down towards the front. We've got a few growing down towards the back. Just trying to incorporate this one as well. It may end up going eventually, I'm not sure. Either. No matter which way you bend it, it's sort of on the same plane as these other ones, so we may end up trimming some of that off. In fact, I might even just do that. Take that one off back there. And then that one can just slot down into its place. How are we looking? Problem I'm seeing looking at this branch here and this branch here, both have very different styles. This one's very clean underneath, and you'll be able to see all branch structure going up. This one's coming down, down, down. They don't look like they match to me. So we're going to have to move everything up. think that's better. Once all this grows into place, then we can probably remove some of these little downward ones, which will expose that underbranch structure like this one. If we just pull that down a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's probably a better plan. Yeah, this pad will have width. This one's not too bad. It does struggle a little bit. Some of these top ones struggle for width a little bit. Just want to make the tree look a little bit more three-dimensional. I really hope this will just shoot of its own accord back along here with enough sunlight on it. And enough fertiliser. I might give it another bag of fertiliser and just try and push something out of it. Just to get a little bit of growth back in here. Just thicken that one up a bit. But overall, I think that's probably not too bad. This is the front of our tree. I'm still not sold on all these roots here, but I don't really know what to do with them. Whether I start trimming some off or just leave them to be a feature of the tree. I don't know. But yeah, that's probably all it needs today. Just a little bit of a push in the direction I want it to go. Like a lot of my trees now are starting to get to the point where the main structure is sort of there. And we just need to get the refinement happening. Again, this is probably not how a lot of people would style their Aussie natives because they don't really grow like this. This is more of a Japanese style. But most of the structure on this tree was how it was grown in a pot when I picked it up from a nursery. So I'm just going with, you know, what the tree had to start with. So yeah, that's about it. So thanks for watching and we'll see you on the next one.